Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the I'll Try That podcast, where we talk beer, news and reviews. This week, we're talking about a brewery that is family owned since 1871, Duvel. However, first of all, there's something going on with Heineken. Joe, can you tell us a little bit more, please?
Yes. So, again, we like to talk about mergers and acquisitions on the I'll Try That podcast, and the beer world is very much full of, and has been built on mergers and acquisitions. The latest, hot off the presses, as of the 23rd of June, was Heineken's control of Kingfisher beer maker United Breweries. So, we're all pretty familiar with Kingfisher beer, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who owned Kingfisher beer?
No.
So the man that owned Kingfisher beer was a guy called Vijay Mallya. Now he's an Indian-born entrepreneur. He's super fantastic. Like, if you haven't actually, followed any of Vijay before, you'll recognize him. He's a very eccentrically dressed, larger-than-life character. He's well known, I think, for, he owns or was the owner of the Royal Challengers Bangalore cricket team. So again, it's like owning a football team here in the UK. It's such big profile. But where he really he had the Kingfisher Airlines, which was an Indian, operated airline doing routes out of India. But what really hit him on the mark was his owner. He was the owner for Force India, which was a Formula One racing team.
That's where the name, when you said it, it clicked, because I watched the Formula One documentary, Drive to Survive. And quite possibly one of the greatest documentaries I've ever watched, because now I'm really into Formula One. I mean, like, really into it.
I share that passion. I'm now so all over. I've now even started joining, like, Reddit subreddits about Formula One and stuff. I've been watching the Azerbaijan highlights.
Oh, it's so good.
No. You guys are properly weird. Formula One is so dull.
Oh, no. Formula One is amazing.
Have you watched Drive to Survive?
No, I haven't. And
watch it.
You're not going to convince me that Formula One is cool. How can they make travelling at 200 miles an hour dull? I have no idea.
It's amazing. Watch Drive to Survive and you will be like, damn, Formula One's where it's at.
It's a really good documentary, to be fair. And there's like a docu-series, and it's like, and they're already in their third series, so you've got a lot to catch up with, Barbara.
Actually, in truth, I'm prepared to eat my hat, because the movie Senna is absolutely fantastic. Yeah. You've got to watch it, Senna, if you've not seen it.
If you like Senna, Niki Lauda is in the first season. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And the legacy of Niki Lauda continues throughout the rest of the season.
I'm going to end up eating my hat like I do on
You're going to love it.
most things.
100%. It got me through a large part of lockdown watching all three seasons.
Plus also, Barbara, you have very dubious taste in films and music and everything, because you don't like Harry Potter.
In everything.
So, we just don't really take your
It's true, I don't like Harry Potter.
Recommendations.
Do you know what the
things.
other thing is? Do you know the other problem is? I don't want to get too far down the road with this, but we don't want to rant too hard on this program. But I've also just committed, for me, what is a cardinal sin. I've got this real problem at the moment that I've inherited from someone, which is I have a real beef with anyone getting common phrases wrong. So when I said I was going to eat my hat a minute ago, what I really meant was I'm going to eat my words, I'm sure, because they properly wind me up. It's like, when people say, well, if you can't shut the stable door, make lemonade in one basket, or something like that. It absolutely kills me every time. I heard someone recently say, tell you what, that absolutely does add salt to the injury. I just, oh God, absolutely kill. And do you know what? So the other problem with that is, definitely said lots of very similar things on this podcast. So I apologise for my hypocrisy. Let's try to move on as best we can. We were talking about Kingfisher once upon a time, I think.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we get like a tree and make like a tree and get the hell out of here?
You guys are, what have I done? You guys are going to do it on purpose from now on, aren't you? Oh.
Right, so Kingfisher.
Right.
So how this all came about, obviously there's no surprise here that Heineken's making the headlines for an acquisition of another brewery, especially into an emerging or into a market which they don't have a big presence in. Heineken's big in India, but it's not huge. Kingfisher is the number one beer in India. So this is no surprise, win-win for Heineken. But why this came about and why I brought up Vijay in the first place. So Vijay is going through, he lives here in the UK. The Indian government is trying to extradite him back to India to face charges of not paying off £1.4 billion or dollars, worth of loans that the banks apparently are saying he has no intention of repaying. So this is an ongoing thing. We can't comment on an ongoing court case, obviously. But there is some real issues here. So unfortunately, Vijay is no longer owner of it. The India's government already and the banks have already sieged all of the probably sieged it. They probably turned up with, battering rams and trebuchets, to the offices. No, but they've already
the
seized.
strongest military weapon.
Wouldn't you just love it if they turn up with a trebuchet?
We talked about it in a previous episode about a beer delivery system for anyone who lives on a boat. There's subtle continuity going on in this podcast, and we're very proud of it.
Honestly, we can find many uses for a trebuchet nowadays.
Yeah.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Actually, guys, all this podcast has been is to get enough followers to start our platform of bring back the trebuchet. This is what we're tailored towards. This is what we're doing.
They said we were mad buying shares in that trebuchet business, but we're going to make it work.
So anyway, that's all I have to say on that matter.
Nice one, Forrest Gump. Anyway, so after the siege, Heineken now owns Kingfisher.
No, yeah, exactly, because it was then the government's and the bank's, right to sell it off, and Heineken have purchased it for a tidy sum.
I will still have a special place in my heart for Kingfisher because it was the highlight of a very, very dull work trip to India where I didn't get to have any fun. I was working the whole time. I was very hot. A lovely country, I must say. But my actual task while I was out there was very dull. And then every now and then in the heat, I'd sink Kingfisher, and it was a real treat.
See, I have the same experience of the treat of a Kingfisher when I was out in India. I was there for very different reasons, so I wasn't working as hard by the sound of things. I was there in a volunteer capacity, and our weekends away, on the odd occasion we were able to get away, from where we were staying was all dry, so there wasn't any alcohol able to be consumed, which is actually a really good thing at that time. It was all focused around what we were doing. But then we would go off, and we were staying in the foothills of the Himalayas. We'd go to McLeod Ganj, which is where the Tibetan government is in exile, and we'd just sit in the mountains sipping on Kingfisher, and it was glorious.
Yeah, I was at the other end. I was in Trivandrum, so right down the southern tip almost. And yeah, I was in an office all day, and I wanted to go out and explore. And apparently Trivandrum is a beautiful part of India, and I had to sit in an office all day. And I was only there for a working week and had to come back. But in the evening, I could nip down to the hotel bar and have a Kingfisher, and what a highlight!
So I have never been to India, but my experience of drinking Kingfisher was on the Isle of Wight at Festival, and I was
exotic. Nice.
Exotic as hell. And there was the Kingfisher beer truck, and I was drinking Kingfisher beer while smoking raspberry shisha, because this boy knows how to live.
And he knows how to combine flavours to make some weird mix.
Yeah, I can't believe there are more people that do that. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Raspberry shisha and Kingfisher. Wow.
Right. Well, talking about potent taste combinations, let's get into Duvel or Duvel or Duvel. How would one pronounce this?
Duvet.
Duvet.
Yeah.
I was calling it Robert Duval, but that's not right, is it? It can't be. It's Duvel? Double.
So it's maybe Belgian.
Like shovel, but with a D instead of a sh.
Double.
That sounds like a very anglicised way of saying it. Rich, just off the bat, I got the impression this wasn't really striking a chord with you.
No, well, you saw me when I was pouring it. I was struggling because it was just all head, and I was giving it. I know how to pour a beer. I have a beer. I host a beer podcast. Then, I know how to pour a beer, sort of thing.
He's not got a clue, guys.
And it was just coming up all head the whole way through, and then I was like, "All right, then let's have a little sipperoo." And I'm just
so that head thing. I'm sure that's how I see it very often depicted. In wherever it is I see it, in the tulip glass, So quite tall and sort of it sort of bows in and then out again towards the top. And I swear in a lot of the pictures it is sort of the bottom half liquid and the top half head, which maybe that's kind of the continental way, I guess. I think.
They say with blondes as well, you should have a head, like quite a thick foam on the top, because it keeps the carbon dioxide in, which helps with the bubbles.
Because it doesn't. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, but there's a head. And then there's half, like 3/4 of the glass was head.
But it's meant to be. Like, look, if you look on Duvel's, and I have got this now, hot off the press, it's Duvel. It's almost like an I.
Duvel. Okay.
No, there's
like Cruella.
It's like devil.
I'm looking at pictures, and the head I was getting was pretty much the whole glass.
It was, yeah. So, but I mean, you did say you know how to pour, but you were giving it a big tilt, I guess. Still,
yeah, big old tilt.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. If it helps,
I think maybe you've got a defunct beer. Maybe because you're not enjoying the taste of it right now. Maybe it's gone off.
If it helps, that sounds like that's how the family intended it.
Well, they're wrong.
Did you, Rich? Did you buy the beer from a supermarket or from a guy down an alleyway? Because it might be off. That's all I'm saying. You might not be getting the full Duvel experience.
Well, I should probably stop buying my beer from a guy down an alleyway. It's
How is Kenneth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can say I am thoroughly enjoying my Duvel experience right now. And I haven't got the traditional blonde. I have got the triple hop Citra Belgian IPA.
Wow.
Now, it's what you'd expect from a hoppy, kind of quite fruity, citrusy, obviously. I'm getting a bit of that dryness coming in now, but my mouth is salivating. But it is very, very tasty. Full of flavour. You're getting that hop, obviously being an IPA, but it's quite smooth as well. As you kind of expect, it's not kind of a blowing your face off IPA. This is an easy, I would say almost like a session IPA, but, it's still got that bit more of a kick to it. And it's, guess what ABV this triple hop Citra Belgian IPA is?
I've literally just looked at the ABV on this one.
Yeah.
Guess what this one? I've asked the question. What's
10.
This one?
I think it's going to be in that neck of the woods. I'm going to go 9.1.
It's a 9.5. So you guys are very close.
Ooh, split the difference. Well done, Travis. We nailed that.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the ABV on this until just then. And it shocked me.
This ABV will shock you.
Yeah.
Clickbait drab, as we call him.
Yeah.
I drank this beer and you will not believe what happened next.
Check out
number 3. You won't believe it.
8.5.
Yeah, that is strong. These are some strong old beers, that's for sure.
It doesn't taste like an 8.5 beer, though.
I think that's kind of fair. Yeah. It's I mean, I wouldn't call it sessionable, which is actually kind of for me is the meter stick is whether I think something's sessionable or not. I judge it. I judge it from there. It doesn't feel sessionable, but it doesn't feel like 8.5%. But I think we'll probably be finding out shortly, won't we?
Well, yeah, I'm assuming our next recording I might be slurring a bit more than usual. It's going to be a repeat of Tiny Rebel.
That episode you don't remember recording.
Yeah, it was a...
You've broken the fourth wall again. We're meant to have an air of professionalism.
Can I just put out an apology for that for that episode? I'm so sorry. It was just a write-off for me in the end.
Don't apologise, mate. Don't regret a thing. It's all part of life's rich tapestry.
I was doing it for the fans. I was doing it for the fans.
It was good. Do you mind if we go back on to Duvel and talk about the episode? Is that all right?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about Duvel.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. It's
Trying to get in the way of your BP apology video, Rich, but we're going to keep going.
We did Leffe just before this, so if you had time for confession, it's gone, I'm afraid. Let's talk about Duvel. Duvel, Joe. This is. I think I alluded it to. Joe, I think I alluded to it in the intro. It's family owned since 1871. Do I hear?
It is indeed. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for that nice tee up. Yeah, so it's been family owned since 1871. Founded by Jean Leonard Mortgat. And he founded the Mortgat Brewery Farm, so on his farmstead, in the turn of the century. So he had over, he was one of only 3,000 breweries operating in Belgium at that time. I say only, that's quite a lot of breweries actually, but we're thinking back in the day then where one brewery would surplus, would deal with a local area. There wouldn't be these national chains or national or international breweries that we know today. So 3,000 actually, one brewery to rule them all. No, one brewery to manage an area around them.
I love a Lord of the Rings reference.
Yeah. So
you've also now set a precedent there. Go on.
There you go. We'll keep going. So I'll jump through. There's a whole history here from 1871. We're going to jump ahead to 1900s and 1915, where for us in the UK, this is going to get very interesting, where because of the success and the build-up of what they refer to the British influence years. So, British English ales at this time through the 1900s and 1915 were getting very popular, exporting into Europe. So, what Duvel did and he created this, Albert decided, one of the sons at this point, decided to create a special beer based on the English model. So that still lives today. There is an English, inspired Duvel within their product portfolio. He went in 1918, the sons, and went and got Scottish yeast. That's the thing. I'm talking jumping ahead a bit more. 1918 to 1923, they had a victory ale to commemorate the end of the First World War.
That was going to be my question. Yeah, spot on.
There you go. The Duvel, the famous Duvel glass, came in 1960. So that's the one you alluded to there, Barbara. It looks like a bit of a flat bottom, a little bit of what do you even describe that as?
A little stem.
Thank you. Up to the tulip-shaped beer glass. You absolutely nailed it earlier on, Barbs. Jeez.
Oh, thank you.
And they say that it was an innovative glass reminiscent of a wine glass that was able to hold its contents of an entire 33 centilitre bottle, meant to accentuate Duvel's exquisite flavour and aroma to be fully experienced by the drinker. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Where do we get to? Right now, from 2000, there's a fourth generation of Duvels or Mortgat family who have been operating and running the Duvel from the top level. And as of today, guess how many countries Duvel or Duvel is exported to?
Oh, this is good because we did this with Guinness previously, and you guys obviously knew the answers before. Actually, we didn't know the exact numbers, but how many countries worldwide it's exported to?
Just looking for a number.
I reckon I can get this.
And it's again out of what we call 250 odd sovereign nations, sovereign states.
I'll give you a little clue. It's more than the 8 that Drabus thought Corona was exported to.
Oh, you're joking. Don't make it too easy for us. I'm going to go with 118.
9.
He's taken your tip, Joe.
Yeah, he has.
Possibly 2, literally.
It's 60 countries. They're in 60 countries.
Split the difference once again, Drabbers. You go low, I go high. We'll figure it out.
Right. Who's got some facts about Duvel?
I think Rich does.
I've got some facts about Devil, Duvet. Take your pick. I think I say so. I did my usual real hard researching for Duvel facts. Googled 10 facts about Duvel. Came up with this: cows love Duvel.
Cow.
Tell us more.
Yeah. Duvel donates its beer, draft, or spent grain to local cattle farmers. According to the brewery, the draft rough texture improves the cow's digestion and gives them a glossy coat.
There you go. Love it.
Okay.
So if you want to improve your hair, as you can tell, I've been eating Duvel grain because my hair is looking particularly on point at the moment, particularly glossy. I've just been chowing down on it in my spare time. So,
a little known. I whenever I come out with a fact, I say it's little known, and then you guys tell me you know the answer. But boys, do you know what Devil actually means in English? The translation.
Duvet.
It's a very good answer, but it's not the one we're looking for. Joe, would you like to make a guess?
Is it double?
Oh, that's even better. It's not that either, sadly, but that's very
Where's
good.
Your accent gone? I think you need to continue with that accent.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Joe. It's me trying to do Roy Walker. No, double, also a very good answer, but it's not the one we're looking for. It's actually devil, as in Satan. And so I'm going to move on from the accent now because it's gone.
That was good though.
Yeah.
Your follow up with that was
you.
Satan was very good.
Satan. Hey, so it is. No,
Is he Scottish
that
or
was
Irish?
wrong.
I have no clue right now, but I'm enjoying it.
I was going to give it the label of generic Gaelic.
Nice.
Anyway, I really
Okay.
should have used that when we did Guinness. Bloody hell. Anyway, so so basically because of this connection with the devil, there's a bit of a catchphrase that they have at the brewery in Belgium, and pardon. So you may have been fooled by my slightly rudimentary impression of Roy Walker, but the slogan for the brewery in Belgium is "Hier lebt den Duvel." Do you want to have a guess at what that means? Yes, I was doing Irish again.
Shush.
You've read it.
Shush.
Oh.
Here we are.
No.
He gave
very
us
good.
Duvel is devil, so you're very close to it. But I thought maybe there's some sort of snake reference. I wasn't entirely sure.
Oh, so yeah. Well done for thinking on that kind of biblical route. No, sadly not though. Hier den Duvel is here rests the devil.
Interesting.
And that's in reference to post. Basically, it has a total fermentation time of I believe 90 days. Although I'm sure that the original that I'm drinking is 2 months. So basically, it's fermented for quite a lengthy period before it's bottled and then subsequently drunk. It's a little bit pokey. And that's the reference to the devil. So be careful. We don't want to disturb it. It's the devil.
So I've been looking in a bit more about where the devil Duvel has all come from, or Duvel has come from. So apparently Duvel didn't start, when the Mortgat family started brewing in that 1871, it wasn't any reference to Duvel. They were just making great beer at the time. The Duvel name, or the devil name, came about in the end of it came about in 1923. Apparently this is the Victory Ale that was created at the time to celebrate the end of World War One. And apparently someone, a shoemaker attending a tasting session, with other, in quotation marks, local notables. I guess those were the influencers at the time.
Basically us.
Remarked that the beer was a real devil, and apparently the name just stuck.
Right,
Yeah, well,
so were you saying like the shoemakers are like the Instagrammers, the influencers of the day back then? Because
yes,
I've also got a lot more respect for the shoemaker already.
Well, I think actually you make a good point. I mean, again, that we're going back into our history or monks or our other podcasts that we've been setting up this whole thing for. But don't forget, a shoemaker back in the day, that's a real artisan job. That was a trade. That was a real crafting job. That was a specialist job to have.
big time. Cobbler?
Isn't that a shoemaker?
That's
a type of apple dessert, isn't it?
Well, you can have a peach cobbler.
There you go.
My cobbler's a peach. Well, I don't know. I feel like cobbler was actually a shoe fixer rather than a shoemaker.
So isn't a cobbler someone who does horseshoes?
No, that's a farrier.
Oh,
that's good.
that's good. That's good horseshoe maker knowledge.
Did you enjoy that?
That's wow.
It's because I've been to.
It's
because I've been to the Three Cat. Well, I've been to the Three Cat show a few times. Watched some sheep shearing and the farriers at work. Whilst with a homemade cider in hand. It's a great time.
Hang on. A farrier. Wasn't that one of our jets in a war against the Argentinians?
Wasn't that Harrier?
Yeah, it's a Harrier. Welcome to this week's game of tenuous link.
Yeah.
We've all had 9.5% ABV
And a Fletcher
beers.
is someone who makes arrows.
Welcome to our new podcast where we just name old-timey jobs.
Right. Basically, right. We've done taste already.
We've done taste. I actually do kind of.
I don't like it.
To that end, actually, Drabbers, you said, yeah. I mean, tell us what you really feel. Actually, It's a bit of an unusual experience with it. Kind of the longer my experience with Duvel goes on, the more I find it quite harsh and quite heavy duty. And my first couple of sips, I was enjoying myself. Whereas now I'm finding it could do with a little bit of sweetness and a little softening. It's quite it's rattling the cage a little bit, which I suppose is pretty appropriate for something that's named Devil. Yeah,
the Devil. And do you agree with that, Travis? Because you've had the same one, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan.
Okay. The Citra IPA, I'd say, is very tasty. Definitely worth a try. I'm enjoying this one a lot. The 9.5 is putting me off knowing it going forward. I wouldn't feel comfortable having more than one of these. I actually don't feel comfortable having one of these right now, knowing it's a 9.5, before I started. Maybe half of these. Maybe it's a sharer.
Even in the little bottle.
Oh my gosh. Guys, eureka moment. With the tulip glass, with the amount of head and froth that you're meant to have, you're only supposed to drink a glass of this each. And I reckon a glass of this would be half a bottle.
That's brilliant.
So you could share a bottle with a friend.
Yes. I like it.
I reckon that's what it's for.
And that's why you're the smart one of the group, Joe. And that's why you work in marketing.
That's why he wears the cap as well. That's why we know. He's basically got a captain's hat on.
I'm the captain of this ship. Right. Numbers wise, let me do the numbers. We'll get through this. So,
shut up, Bala. Yes. So,
almost finished.
Sorry,
Joe. Almost out.
Sorry, Joe.
No one will know. No one will know. We've had 9.5s. No one will know.
I'm a little drunk.
I'm a big drunk.
I love you guys so much.
You're just the best guys to do a podcast with I've ever met.
I love the podcast. I'm so fan of the podcast.
No. Ow, you guys.
Oh,
tell us about the numbers, Joe.
So, numbers-wise, on Instagram, they have 50,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
And this is Duvel, Devil, Belgium. Now, Duvel do a weird thing that we have seen a few times where they basically make Twitter and they split it up between countries. So I'll give you a couple because it's not that interesting. Because Duvel UK, they've got 1.5k followers. Duvel Belgium, they have 600k followers. And Duvel USA has 3k followers.
That's interesting.
So again,
because Travis's guesses for those were going to be 10, 11 and 12. So it's obviously more than those.
That's our episode, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe,
Rich,
Barbara,
and Simo,
goodbye. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com.
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.